Hello and welcome to part 3 of Universal Mixing. In this video, you're going to continue to enjoy the power of noise, elbow points, and level planes. You're also going to continue to enjoy the absolute freedom that comes with knowing where you are going to be in the equalization process. All right, let's begin. All right, so picking up where we left off with part 2, I have added the bass. Now the bass has been fully processed. Here is the final shape of it, okay? Let's listen. Nice. Oh, and one of the things I found it necessary to do was when I added the bass was to go back and tighten up the kick drums a bit. So I just went into the compression here and took the threshold, dropped it to minus 19.1 for the kick, but it still was following minus 7.5 overall, as you can see. Okay, just tightened up the compression. And then in the sub kick, we were doing that sort of like the SSL trick. So the threshold was all the way down. And then we were messing with the ratio. And all I did was increase the ratio to 1.7 to 1. Okay. And that was it. And that's what kind of tightened up the kick drum. If you listen real quick here, just going back. Nice. And then with the bass. Cool. All right. So for the bass, let's do minus 7.5. This is where we ended up. This is where you're always going to be, or we were going to be for this song, right? So 7.5. Now, I could have had this continue and follow 7.5 here, but I didn't want as much low end as 7.5 as a whole would give. So what I did was I put an elbow point at 150, and I moved this to minus 4.5, and there we go. So now we have less high end than less low end than just following minus 7.5 all the way, but it's still a nice balance with your low and high and all that. Now, even for this carve out here, we still used our elbow points. So let's go to, I put an elbow point at 300, and I used minus 18. Okay. Then I put an elbow point at 500, and I used brown. I put another elbow point at 800, and I put that to inverted pink. And then even if I put this back to minus 4.5, which we're following here, now you can see anywhere that you're slightly above, like right here and right there, just drop it down a bit. All right, so just go, okay, it's about being perfect. There we go, a little bit here, a little bit there, and a little bit there. There we go. Now we can even drop a smidge here if we wanted to. Okay, nice. So there's our carve out. Now, again, if we go back and check, let's reset our ceiling. Put an elbow point at 150. We're going to check the overall again. All right, and remember that this was minus 4.5. This was minus 7.5. And there we go. Let's bring them up like that. There we go. So now we know that our carve out is perfectly following noise, and our overall is perfectly following noise. So everything is in perfect balance. All right, let's listen. I'll even go ahead a little bit. Nice. Now let's just say that we wanted to, we like that, and that's where we're going to be, and that's fine. But we decided, you know what, I want to experiment, kind of go back and experiment with the original bass and try a different compression. Okay. Well, all you have to do is hit auto generate ceiling, boop, and then now you can go in here and adjust this to make sure that you're right where as you're following, just kind of set up your preset. Okay. And then you can go in and save this as whatever you want. In here, I saved it as, and this will be on our website. So if you want, you can download this and use this preset. Okay. New Beginnings bass. All right. So there you go. We've created it. Now let's mute this. And here is our original bass before we added any compression. All right. And here's the COS Pro that's on it. Okay. The COS Pro right here. So let's bring up that preset that we just created, New Beginnings bass. And you can see here is what it was raw. So they had an amp, had a fuzz box, there was some compression, pedals, stuff like that. But here's where this is our raw bass that we tracked. Okay, now even if we bring up our guides, we can see that, he was pretty close to 4 or 5 there. Naturally is pretty close to 7.5 anyways. If you like something, if you like the way something sounds, it's pretty much going to be balanced anyways. You know what I mean? But this is where we want to be. This is where we're going to be, what we enjoyed for the song. So let's just drop this guy down. See, we're on this one right now. Let's drop him down and let's just add, a multi-band compression. Okay. Let's do that. One of the ones I really like. Where's the Lindell? There we are. Okay. And let's use bass, tight, big, low end. Okay. So now it's a 3-band compression, and we're probably going to have to turn it down a bit. Let's go down to like 4. That's good enough. Okay, so before, after. Nice. Now, here's the beautiful thing. The beautiful thing is you can use whatever EQs you want to add color. So say that you wanted to add the color of an API, or you wanted to add the color of an SSL or a Neve or whatever, a Trident. Go ahead and remember, just do whatever you want to get these close. You don't have to be exact, because in the end, you're just going to go boop, and now it's going to take you where you're going to be. So you're completely free to experiment. Like I'm not going to bring up a bunch of ones because it's entirely up to you. Remember, you have an infinite lane highway to experiment with where you're going to be. My job, my objective is to show you in all of these things where you are going to be. Now, if you want to use AI plugins, if you want to use, emulations of actual EQs, whatever, it's entirely up to you. I'm going to make sure that you are always where you're going to be, so that if you use an analogy of a cake, your musical cake, the foundation of your musical cake is delicious. And then however you want to decorate it from there on is entirely up to you. Parallel compression and EQ, your reverbs, your delays, your whatever. That's all of your decorations, your icing and all this. And that's entirely up to you. But what good is any of that, is the decorating of your cake, if the base, the foundation of your musical cake tastes like garbage? What's the point? So COS Pro and Mixed Monolith will always make sure that the foundation of your musical cake in any genre, because remember, noise will never sound bad. Noise will show you what it is all the time anyways. Noise doesn't care what color you use, and then noise doesn't care about genre. Excuse me. So whether you're doing EDM, pop, whatever, the foundation of your musical cake, because in the end it's all just noise, is going to sound and taste beautiful. So here we go. And then use COS Pro, Mixed Monolith to set it on its level plane. And you're going to be good to go. But let's go back to the original. This is one I liked. All right. Because we would want to have Mixed Monolith listen to the whole thing, but just to have a good look at the overall, all the little parts and inflections, whatever. Same with COS Pro, but cool. All right, let's move to some guitar. I have unmuted all of the elements of the song, and I have looped a section at the beginning. Let's listen. Okay, now here's the guitars that are playing, because I want to show you something. All right, let's just listen to this one. And this is where we wanted to wind up. Okay, so we're following pink, and then at 500 we flattened that out to white. Okay, sounds good. Now this one that is playing along with it, this, you can see that this is a little darker. He is following minus 4.5. Okay, remember I said all the time you're going to be pink, minus 4.5, brown, almost all the time with all of these, with many of your elements. Okay, same thing here. But when we play it in the song, he's kind of getting lost. So what we want to do is we want to change this to have him more, follow pink. Because when we do that, we're going to have less low end, and when he's sitting on his proper luffs of minus 25, he's just going to poke out a little bit more, but without being louder. You know what I mean? So this is where the balance between your noise spectrums, your noise ceilings, your noise slopes, and all that, your noise, the balance between that and your level planes is important, makes a difference. It's still very easy to manipulate and deal with them, but it makes a difference. So let's do this. Now we could do this manually, but I'm just going to bring up pink, right? And then I'm just going to auto-generate a ceiling, right? Let's bring this guy down for right now. We can just auto-generate again, and let's just kind of put him where he's supposed to be. There we go. Boop. All right, now let's manipulate this a bit. Let's go up here to, let's move him to 7.5. Yeah. So he was at 1K, but we're going to leave him at white. We'll just put him back, but he's not actually there. And do that. Let's see. There we go. Let's hear what that's going to sound like. We didn't want this down here. See, now he pokes out a little bit more. Before, put him back on his level plane. You can hear him. Nice. See, so, and that's one of the things that I wanted to kind of show you. You know, you're always going to be right. You're always going to be following noise. Noise is always going to be balanced to noise. But depending on which one you use, the difference between minus 4.5 and pink, and both of them sitting on their level plane of minus 25, there is a difference in how they'll sit in the mix. Okay, both of them sound good. Both of them are the proper, they sound great by themselves because they're balanced noise, and they sound good, because they're sitting on a level plane. But one will poke out a little bit more. It'll sit slightly different in the mix. So anyways, let's move to another one. All right. So yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah, I like that. All right, let's move to something else here. Oh, actually, I realized I didn't check the level. Just a minute. Let me do this real fast. Always make sure you're not peaking. All right, so now I'll bring up Mix Monolith again. There we go. Okay, so this synth is going along with it right here. And I think that's a little too bright. So it's also kind of detracting from the guitars. So what do we have on it right now? There is some filtering going on, and then it's going into the parallel particles. Okay. I want to leave those as they are, but I want to adjust the noise balance. Okay. So let's bring this guy up. Let's see where we're at. We'll probably be around brown. Yeah. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want him to follow. Let's go down one slope to -7.5. So what we're going to do is auto generate, and then let's put that there, go there. And here's what we're going to do. Like from here, I want to leave this the way it is, and we're going to adjust from here. So if I go to 0, spectrum smoothing, see this guy here? That's what, 439. So I'm going to put him to 439. And everything will stay the same there. Now, go back to 50. Now I'm going to use, when you come up here, this is going to go to 1K. And we'll put one here at 3. We'll move this guy to 8. We may actually end up bringing him into 5. And let's put him down to 4, 5. Let's put this guy to 15K. Okay, so, and then this one right here, we could move him back to 500, but we can use one of our frequency colors. So we'll use 602, which is kind of like where he's at, but that way he's right on an actual pi generated primary, secondary, or tertiary frequency color. All right. So 602.88 if we want to be exact. Okay. Now we want to start manipulating. So let's go down 7.5. Let's go down 1 here. Let's see where we're at. Listen. Before, after. You know what? I want to bring this up a little bit more. Back to, let's go to 5. I don't want so much high end. Okay, let's go to 5. Let's put one. We don't need this guy here. Let's move him over here. Let's put that to, well, let's just put it to 10. I was going to use 8 or 9. Well, no, yeah, let's use 8. And we'll put that to 12. Put this to 18. And we can bring this guy up. Yeah, let's bring him up. Maybe move this to 7.5. Let's see what that's going to sound like. That's better. A lot less low, high end there. But he's still sort of right in here where you have a nice bite to it, and then the body. Before. After. Make sure we're not peaking again. And let's set him on his level plane. And nice. Now we hear the guitar a little bit more. Before. Set him on his level plane again. So that's where he was. We're moving him to let's just say that we want a little bit more high end here. Let's move that to 9. Nah, I really liked where it was. I like this. Let's move to something else. Okay, so here we have the next section of guitars before the lead vocal comes in the song. Let me play it. All right, so there is a lead guitar line, 2 of them, left and then doubled in the center, or center and doubled on the left, however you want to look at it. And then we have a rhythm guitar on the right. Cool. Now, what I want to show you is for this lead guitar line here, these 2, we're reamping. So we recorded directly off the guitar and then we're sending into a virtual amp. And I just use these because it's quick. You can use whatever virtual amp you want. It doesn't matter. All right. Now, what I wanted to show was that balancing out your noise element to the spectrum of noise, in this case, the raw guitar, is a good idea before you hit your virtual amp. Because your virtual amp, remember, everything is just reacting to noise energy. So you want to, the more balanced the noise energy you feed your virtual amp, whichever one it is, the better the results are going to be. So let me demonstrate that here. Okay, so let me undo bypass all of that. Here is the COS Pro, and I will reset the EQ. Here's the raw guitar before the amp, the virtual amp. Okay. Okay. It's following minus 4.5. And there's a lot of extra energy down here, which is just, we don't need that. And we'd like a little bit more bite in here, and then we don't need some of this up here. So what we want to do is leave this part. We're going to keep this following minus 4.5, but at 300, instead of just flattening it out, we're actually going to go the other way, 1.5, and have a little less of that, because we just really want that mid-range. It's a lead line. We just want that mid-range, energy to come through and hit the amp. So what we did at 100% spectrum smoothing is we set a elbow point at 300, and then this is 9. Okay, so we use 9, and then at 3K. We set this to minus 4.5. So we have minus 4.5, 9, and then for this remainder up here from 3K all the way up, we used minus 9. So these two are just opposite, minus 9, 9, and then minus 4.5. And when we hit conform spectrum to ceiling, now we go back to 50%, you can see that we are following minus 4.5, and then from 300, we are following, let me play it, keep playing it here. We are following 1.5. Nice. Okay, and then we've gotten rid of, you can see in the EQ right here, this has rolled off a lot of this extra low end, so bypass. Okay, there's a volume difference, but you can hear there was a lot of extra energy there in the low end. All right. So I already had this set, so I'm not going to change that. Here's the virtual amp afterwards. Now, if I bypass this that's feeding the virtual amp, it's very clunky. You hear that in the lower end? It's a lot cleaner, more defined in that mid-range. See? Okay. So now, after this virtual amp, I just, brought up an AI, and I brought up Butch Vig, and I just chose the Butch Vig Scoop 2 preset. That's it. I didn't make any changes, nothing. Okay? And let's bring up COS Pro after that, because I want to actually show you that AI itself adheres to 1, 3, and 5. And I'm going to be showing you that in a lot of these videos. So it's not just, I'm saying that 1, 3, 5, that humans do that, but even AI, when they're programmed, you'll see that these elbow points, 1, 3, and 5, AI adheres to them. They're inherently part of all sound because they are universal rules. Everything in the universe adheres to them. It's crazy. Okay, so here is, let me even reset the EQ. Here is after this Butch Vig, okay, this preset, here's what we have. And it's basically there. There's a little bump up, but we're going to want to be perfect with it. And what we're following is, again, minus 4.5 up to 1K, and then flattening out to white. You're going to see these kinds of things over and over again. All right, so it's got a good look. Let me freeze that. Okay, and we're going to want to drop this down a little bit because he's actually too high. And we want to bring this up. Cool. Maybe even just drop this a smidge. There. Okay. Before the little correction. After. It's subtle, but you can kind of hear it. Nice. And even with this one, same thing. So before, but we did a little bit different. For the center one, there is bass that is happening. So let me kind of do this real quick. We mute these, right? The bass is in the center, and it's doing some nice walking movement, and I want to not have the guitar take away from that. So what we did was, here before we hit the virtual amp, okay, and we use the same virtual amp as the last one. I just simply chose a basic. Okay, use whichever one you want. And at 100% spectrum smoothing, remember on the other one it was 300 and 9 and then 4.5 and at 3K 9. Well, what we did is we moved that 300 to 500. So we had a little less of this energy here in this lower, so it's more focused really in this mid and high mid. Okay, and so what we got was, let me solo that. So I'll bypass that other stuff. Here's just the virtual amp before the virtual amp. So it's following minus 4.5, and then right here at 1K, it's just kind of starting to roll off, and we got rid of all this other stuff down here. Before, clunky after. Nice. And with the virtual amp, before, corrected, a lot more focused, okay? And then again, for this thing, I just was showing, I want to keep showing you that AI even adheres to 1, 3, and 5. I brought up Chris Lord-Alge guitar, and I just simply chose Soaring Solo. I didn't change anything other than the fact that I took off the effects that would be there, okay? Now when I bring up COS Pro after that, now what we did here, let me reset the EQ. Now on this one, normally, let me put this back to white. Here we have minus 4.5, and at 1K, I just dropped this back to the tier 3 to 900. So at 900, we're going to white. But what I wanted to do was get rid of, to make even more room for the bass, which this preset's actually kind of doing on its own too. We're just going to do a slight correction. At 500, we went to 1.5. So that way, if you were to look at it here, so at 500, if we were at white, everything's straight across, but when we go to minus 1.5, it drops this down, okay? Then at 150, we flattened it back out to white, okay? So let's play this. And it's kind of following that anyways. All right, just let it get a little better look here, sort of settle in. And let's freeze it. There we go. Okay, so now when we set, we're going to use this right here as our anchoring point, okay? We're just a little high here. Drop that down. And maybe not quite that far. There we go. And then we're just a little bit above here. There we go. But AI was actually pretty much adhering to this too. As a solo type thing, takes off some of that extra low end. Nice. So let's listen. Before the little correction. It's not that much of a difference, but just seems to smooth out a wee bit. All right. Nice. And then here we have a sort of a pad line in the background. Nice. And what that's following is just naturally how we set it. Well, it's natural now. It's processed. But what we did was from 2K, excuse me, to 800, it's following minus 4.5, and then we wanted a little less high end, so from 2K up, it's following brown noise. And then at 800, we sloped it down to 200 here, following 7.5, and then we flattened it out after that. Now here's the thing, you're seeing 200 in here. So you can use, these guys as your secondary elbow points as well. But one thing that you're going to find, your primary, secondary, and tertiary frequency colors. But one thing you're going to find is when you do, and you're using them as main elbow points, you're really going to use two of them repeatedly. And you're going to use 200, which is, 200.96 to be exact. But so 200 and 2K. And then you're also going to use 400, 401.92 to be exact, but 400 and 4K. And the reason, if you think about that, why those two, and it's primarily going to be 200 when you do them, 400 sometimes. But what is the numerical difference between 3 and 5? Remember, 3 and 5 dominate. What is the numerical difference between 3 and 5? 2. And then when you have the anomaly, that universal anomaly, of perfect stability doubles the energy of chaos, and it goes 3 and 5 jumps to 6 and 10. What is the numerical difference between 6 and 10? 4. That is why you're going to see 2 and 4 all the time. Those are going to be your primaries of your secondary frequency points or elbow points, and I call those your secondary ones because it's all of these pi generated frequency colors. 2 and 4. So like in keyboards, you're going to see 200, things like that. Piano especially, that's where that's going to kind of come into play, and 400 as well. So there you have it. Anyways, let's move to something else. So here we have a guitar that is playing during the verse. All right. Nice. And what I want to show you is that, often, more than often, you're going to be flattening out at 300, 500, whatever, to white on your low end. But you don't always have to do that. I mean, realistically, once you set an elbow point, you can go either direction. In this case, we set an elbow point at 1.5K, and then from 1.5 down, we followed minus 1.5, and from 1.5 up, we followed white. So we kind of did it in the reverse than what you've usually seen me do. And we did that because during the verse, we want this guitar to kind of be nice and transparent, not to detract from the vocal in any way. Okay, so let me solo this. And let's reset the EQ on COS Pro. I'm going to get rid of this. And this was another virtual or a reamping situation. So we brought up a virtual amp again, just use a basic, didn't matter. And this is what it sounds like, the guitar sounds like coming right off the virtual amp, okay? And you can see we are nowhere near where we want to be, all right? Not even close. And we're going to do most of the final manipulation here. But what we're going to do first is let's bring up a SSL channel strip, and I'll turn these off. And so we're going to do some dynamics, right? And we're going to do a variation of the SSL trick. That's what we did. So we brought the threshold all the way down to the lowest, all right? And then we put on fast attack, and we did the fastest release, and we messed with the ratio. We put it to 1.7 to 1. All right, so this is what we got, kind of tightened it up, 3 to 6 dB. We're sitting right at 6, basically. Yep. All right, before. Nice. Okay, so it tightens it up a bit. Now, we want to impart, we don't have to be exact, but we wanted to impart some harmonics from the SSL channel strip. So what we did at 2K, we added 8 dB, just in order to kind of get this closer, right? And then at 200, we cut 3 dB, all right? So what that did was, it got us a lot closer to where we are going to be, all right? And we didn't have to be exact at all here. I mean, if we wanted to, we could even add a little bit more. Cool. Let's just let this learn real fast, get a nice look, and we're going to freeze it. Okay, because you don't have to be exact. The visual component of COS Pro for a hyper EQ here is so powerful. I mean, we can do this in silence and know where we're going to be. So all you have to do is get it close. We just imparted some harmonics from this SSL, and now we're just going to do the rest of it here. All right, so using this as our anchor point, let's go here, and from 1K, we're going to take this down. And maybe not quite that far. We want to make sure he's where he needs to be first. Okay. And then, they're both kind of there. Good. let's sort of straighten this out here. All right. And, you know, maybe a little bit more down there. Let's add some 2K. Yeah, that looks good. Let's see what that sounds like with this little correction. Before. After. Nice. Let's make sure that's sitting right where it needs to, on its level plane of -25. Nice. And there you go. So you don't always have to have white, you know, flatten out to white on the bottom end. Here we did white, and then we did -1.5. Okay. So since we're listening, we have the vocals going. You always hear me say that, you know, vocals are the easiest. Really, they're one of the easiest things to do, no matter what the genre or the you know, how big the person is, a female vocal, whatever. And I'm going to show you that right now. Okay. So here is the lead vocal in the verse. Sentado en una astronave. Nice. Cargado por sueños se ven. Cool. Now, I've mentioned this in other videos, and I'll mention it again here. The mechanics of how a human makes sound is the same for everybody. It doesn't matter, big barrel-chested man, small woman, whatever. From the beginning of time on, we take air into our lungs. As the air comes out, the vocal cords vibrate, and we have two resonation chambers, our chest and our nose. So here is the chest lobe. That's the resonation chamber of the chest. And then there's the throat, which also kind of resonates, and that's this lobe right here. And then you have the nose resonation chamber, and then the air coming out. And these might, you know, move around a little bit depending on the person, but the mechanics are always going to be the same. You're going to have your chest, your throat, your nose, and your air, okay? And it's just a matter of balancing those to noise. All right, so in this instance, we balance we'll go down here first. We balance the throat and the chest to white noise, and then starting with the chest, we balance the chest, the nose, and the air along pink, along the slope of pink. All right? Excuse me. And you're going to be doing, you know, obviously, if you go to -4.5, it's going to be a little bit darker and richer and warmer. And if you go to brown, even more so. Okay, but you're really just going to be in that range. Okay, so let's start here at pink. And let's start again, like, let's reset this, and let's just say, you know what, we want to follow pink all the way, okay? So there's pink, let's move this up. And starting with the chest, we want the entire thing to follow pink, or we could even start up there and say, okay, let's do this. Drop this down. So that the throat is at pink, right? And let's grab the chest and move him back up. And we'll kind of balance this out. Make that sort of parallel to pink. And then there's a little bit of extra air up here. Okay, so now the whole thing is balanced to, let's bring up Mix Monolith. The whole thing is balanced to pink. Let's hear how that sounds. Sentado en una astronave. Not bad. Cargado por sueños se ven. Manos fuertes contra tremendo viento. Okay, but what if we wanted a little less high end? We wanted less air, so we'll set an elbow point at 5K. And we will take from pink, we'll make that brown. And let's grab the air, move that down to brown. Okay, let's see what that sounds like. And we'll actually set a level plane.
Sentado en una astronave, cargado por sueños se ven, manos fuertes contra tremendo viento.
Okay, what if we wanted to really balance this nose? See, there's a double lobe of the nose. Let's bring that up there. So really pull out the nose. And, you know, we want to drop the chest a little bit. So here at 500, we will just flatten that out. Now, you could just go, you know, partial way. You say, I just want to go to minus 1.5. Let's see what that sounds like. So we'll grab this. Drop that down. Okay, let's see what that sounds like if we don't go all the way to white.
Sentado en una astronave, cargado por sueños se ven.
Not bad.
Manos fuertes contra.
But what if we go all the way to white?
Tremendo viento. Supimos en que nos metimos. Oh, oh, oh. Conscientes llegaremos. Oh, oh, oh. Sentado en una astronave, cargado por sueños se ven.
Okay, let's reset. Now, what if we want to follow minus, excuse me, minus 4.5? So we don't want it as bright as pink would be, okay? So let's go in here, and again, let's just start right from the beginning and say we want this whole thing to follow minus 4.5. And, you know, you're just going to do variations, whichever one is going to work for the song, you know, within the song that you're working in, okay? Let's go here. There. Okay, now the whole thing, our chest, our throat, our nose, and our air are all following minus 4.5. Let's see what that sounds like.
Sentado en
It's much richer.
nave, cargado por sueños se ven. Manos fuertes contra.
Okay, but you know, we're kind of losing some of that air. So let's bring the air up. Let's put a elbow point at 5K. Okay, and let's flatten that back out to white. Go here and let's bring this up. Bring that up. There we go. All right, let's see what that is. How that sounds.
Sentado en una astronave,
It's better.
cargado por sueños se ven. Manos fuertes contra tremendo viento. Supimos en.
Okay, but what if we don't want quite so much chest? Again, let's go to 500. And again, let's flatten that out all the way. Okay, let's grab him. Grab everything here. Okay, let's, I kind of brought this guy down. All right, let's see what that sounds like.
Sentado en una astronave, cargado por sueños se ven.
Better?
Manos fuertes contra tremendo
Okay, it's kind of a rock song, so let's actually have more throat than chest. So let's drop this back to minus 1.5. And we'll grab from here. So now we have less chest than throat. And we grab this right in here. Bring that down a bit. There we go. Less chest than throat, but the throat, the nose, and the air, or throat and nose are still balanced at minus 4.5. And then we have some air here at white. Okay, let's see what that sounds like.
Sentado en una astronave, cargado por sueños se ven, manos fuertes contra tremendo viento, supimos en que no.
Nice. You know what? Let's get extreme and let's go to brown. So let's go here to brown. Whoops, probably help if I grab this guy. Oh, I guess I never did grab him. My bad. Okay, so we want this whole thing to follow brown, but you know what? Let's balance these guys out to white noise. Let's start there this time. All right. Okay, there we go. And let's have this follow brown. Let's put the nose along brown because brown would be pretty dark. So let's do this from 1K up. Put the nose there. And we can kind of balance this back out. And we want this nose back up there too. This first lobe, all right. And then let's put the air. Let's put the air to, put an elbow point at 5K. And let's put the air, let's do the air to pink to start with, okay? So it's not quite as dark as brown all the way. There we go, let's see what that sounds like.
Sentado en una astronave, cargado por sueños se ven, manos fuertes contra tremendo viento, supimos en.
Okay, but you know what? Let's put this up to white. All right, let's check that out.
Sentado en una astronave, cargado por sueños se ven, manos fuertes contra.
Better.
Tremendo viento, supimos en que no.
Okay, let's take 5K and drop him back to 3K. Now, let's bring this stuff up. There we go. Yeah, you can just drop this down a smidge. There we go. Let's see what that sounds like.
Sentado en una astronave, cargado por sueños se ven, manos fuertes contra tremendo viento, supimos en que nos metimos. Oh, oh, oh.
Okay. Now, what if we wanted to, at 500, get rid of still a little bit more chest and do what we did last time? Oh, so he could have come up more, but, and have this at minus 1.5. Okay. So you're just going to be playing with your, a couple of maybe 4, maybe 5 tops, ceilings, noise slopes, noise ceilings, and just a handful of elbow points, and you can handle all of your vocals. Okay. So, well, he's not quite there. And just whatever works best that you find sits well, works best with the song you're placing this noise element, this human noise element into. You know what I mean? So let's see what this sounds like.
Sentado en una astronave, cargado por sueños se ven, manos fuerte contra tremendo viento.
Okay, interesting. What if we left that like that, but we put an elbow point at 5K and drop this down to pink? So we just get rid of some of this air. Well, not get rid of it, but drop it down. So this is going to follow pink now. Okay. Now what does it sound like?
Sentado en una astronave, cargado por sueños se ven, manos fuerte contra tremendo viento.
Okay. But what if we put this back? You leave this at pink, put this to pink, and put this to 4.5. So we can get rid of that one. So we've moved our elbow point back to 3K. All right, we'll even start afresh. Just do this again. So 3K. I mean, I could have just reset the EQ, but I'm just so used to doing empty preset. Sorry about that. Okay, so again, this was minus 4.5, and this is where we're going to want to be. So we do that, and we're kind of close to that to begin with. Let's drop, oh, that's right. This guy was actually minus, all right. But it's really easy. Just experiment with a handful of things for your lead vocals. And yeah. It's fun. Let's grab from here. Yeah, let's do that. Let's bring this down. Let's set another one, do something different here and set something at 10K. And we'll set this to, let's do a roll off of 12. Actually, no, let's get extreme of 15. There we go. Cool. Let's see what that sounds like.
Sentado en una astronave, cargado por sueños se ven, manos fuerte contra tremendo viento. Supimos en que nos metimos. Oh, oh, oh.
Interesting. Okay, but what if we wanted to? Here at pink, but at 5, so we're just going to add one more. I'm just showing you all the different ways you can experiment, okay, and make that brown, okay? So we are going to follow to minus 4.5 here to 3. From 3 to 5, we're going to follow brown, and then from brown to 10K, we're going to follow pink. All right, let's do that. And we'll grab here. And we'll grab from there. All right, let's see what that sounds like.
Sentado en una astronave, cargado por sueños se ven.
It's a little better on this.
Manos fuerte contra tremendo viento. Supimos en.
Nice. What if we got real extreme and we said we want minus 1.5? Well, let me just do it this way. Minus 1.5, okay, for this, and at at 500. Let's flatten that out. Well, you know what? Let's just stay 1.5 all the way. Okay. And we want to bring this up. So let's go from 1K. Bring that all the way up. And we're going to make this sort of follow. All right. This is going to go to 1. And then at, you know what? Let's do at 3. No, let's do it at 5K. Let's go to brown. Actually, let's go to 9. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. Since we are so bright on the rest of it, let's see what this sounds like. Okay?
Sentado en una astronave, cargado por sueños se ven. Manos fuerte contra tremendo viento. Supimos en que nos metimos. Oh, oh, oh.
Not bad.
Conscientes
What if we drop this back to 3?
Sentado en una astronave, cargado por sueños se ven. Manos fuerte contra tremendo viento. Supimos en que nos metimos. Oh, oh, oh. Conscientes llegaremos. Oh, oh, oh. Sentado en.
And interestingly, interestingly enough, this is kind of the stuff that you'll start, when you start to get into this is what you'll do for your backgrounds, because you really don't want the high end there, but you want the presence of the backgrounds. So you might even like at 500, flatten this out to white noise, right? And then this is where you'll have one of your backgrounds, and it's not going to be sitting at minus 25. It would be sitting at minus 30 or minus 35, depending on, where you kind of want it. But, let's see.
Sentado en una astronave,
A lot of presence.
cargado por sueños se ven. Manos
Let's see, but you don't have a lot of high end. You just have a lot of bite.
Tremendo.
So you'll do that a lot for background vocals. Excuse me. You'll find that can work very, very well. Because again, it's going to be at like a harmony, it'll be minus 20, minus 30. So it'll be 5 dB or one level playing down less than, well, actually, your lead vocal will be at minus 22. So your harmony for that would be minus 32 or minus 27. Man, numbers. Anyways, you'll find that works very, very well for your background vocals. Excuse me. All right. So that's how easy vocals are. You're just your chest lobe, your throat, your nose, your air. Just mess with them, and you're at the most you'll be minus 1.5, like for backgrounds like that, and then but mostly you'll be at pink, minus 4.5, or brown. And the steeper you go, the darker and richer and more warmer it gets. Flatten out at 500, and then flatten up at 5K, and then so you bring up your air, bring down your chest, and then just experiment and find which one works best in the song you're doing. But vocals are very easy to do. All right, let's move on. So here we have some heavy double-tracked rock guitars in the chorus. Let's check it out. Nice. Okay. So generally speaking, when you double track heavy guitars like that, especially, they're heavily compressed and very controlled, you're going to want to do some unmasking because you're going to have some frequency buildups. But in order to minimize that with a single elbow point, this is what we did. So here's the left rock guitar. And here's the COS Pro for it. Okay. Nice. So what we did using a single elbow point, we used one of our frequency colors, okay? And to be exact, we used 602.88, all right, which is a primary frequency color. And here it is right here, and when it rounds up, so 602.9. And for the bottom part here, we're following minus 4.5, and for the top, we are following minus 1.5, okay? Now for the right-hand guitar, let's play that. Here's the COS Pro for that one. We just did the opposite. So the single elbow point at 602.88, which rounds it up, it's going to be 602.9. On the bottom, we used minus 1.5. And on the top, we used minus 4.5. Okay. Now, here they are side by side. Actually, let's play them together. Okay, so if we were to take this, and I want to show you what is actually the difference in frequencies here. So as we're listening, if we take this side, put him here, he's 4.5 and 1.5. So you can see he's crossing at 200 and 2K. This one, actually the low end extends, the high end extends a little bit. But you can see right here, so this is the frequency difference between the two of them. So just using a single elbow point and the exact same noise ceilings, but just reversing them, we have created some separation. Okay, let's put this back to 1.5 and 4.5. Okay, so that's it. And we've minimized any kind of frequency, buildup that we would have by having that frequency separation. Now, of course, though, there will probably still be some, and so you'd want to use some unmasking to do it, but it sounds pretty good. So that's a very good technique to use when you have double track guitar, especially in a situation like that, okay? Now you're also hearing some background vocals during the chorus. Let me play it again. Nice. So what I did with those, here they are right here, these guys all in red, and they're already processed, but let me just solo this guy, and I'll show you what I did on all of them. This is the shape. So here's the COS Pro for that. At 500, we are at white. At 5K, we're following minus 4.5, and then all the way up from there, it's white again. And I use that same shape for all of these. And then those are going to a bus. And on that bus, I wanted to demonstrate again that when your noise elements are balanced to noise, all of your AI plugins, all of your channel strips, and in this case, a plug-in chain preset from a company called Rise Up Audio, RYSUP Audio. Okay, they sell plug-in chain presets, which when your noise elements are balanced to noise, using noise, and they're perfect, all of these things and all of their preset chains work beautifully. So I brought one up, okay, and I didn't do anything else to it. And here's the COS Pro on it. All right, let me bring that up. And let me play it. And this is the shape I use for the overall for that bus. So at 900, we are at white. And you can hear it's just a nice distant church type sound, okay? So we kind of wanted to carve some of the presence out of that. So at 3K, we are following -7.5. And then from there all the way up, we are following -4.5 with the lead vocal. Nice, and it sits very well together. I can't stress this enough. When your noise elements are balanced to noise, using noise with noise, and sitting on a level plane, all of your plugins, all of your other plugins are a joy to use. And even, plug-in chain presets like this they're fun to use. They're easy to use. All right, let's move to something else. Okay, so for the final section of the video, here we are at the bridge. Nice. And what I want to show here with this guitar on the left, here it is right here. I want to show that just a simple shift, when we shift ceilings, when we go from like -4.5 to white to pink noise, that makes a big difference, and we set it in how something sits in the mix. But so can a simple shift of an elbow point. So here we have an elbow point at 300, and it's white down here. And then this top section here is pink, okay? And that's what we're following. But if we shift this, well, first let's listen to how it sounds in the mix, okay? Get a good listen. Nice, doesn't sound bad, okay? But if we shift this from 300 up to 500, okay. All right, put that there. Now we want to drop this down a bit, all right. Let's go from 500. And let's set it on a level plane, because that changed the energy. Just pokes out a little bit more. Nice. So just shifting an elbow point can also make a nice, subtle but big difference in how something sits in the mix. So experiment with that. It didn't sound bad when we were at 300, but as soon as we just moved that elbow point from 300 to 500, it just, took away a little bit of that low end, but kept it in balance with noise, and it sat a little bit nicer, I think, in the mix. All right. So that wraps up part 3 of Universal Mixing. For part 4 is going to be a lot of fun. I'm using a jazz instrumental track from an artist, Torquato Mariano from Brazil. Really nice guy, really talented artist. He sent me his tracks, and I'm going to use those because I want to continue to demonstrate how noise is not genre specific, it's not instrument specific, it's not effect specific. It does not matter. If you can hear something, it is a noise, and it is governed by the spectrum of noise, elbow points, and primarily the elbow points derive from the universal rules 1, 3, and 5, and level planes, period. All right, so happy mixing, and I will see you guys on the next video.